touch with. A lot of people that I felt like I was helping and watching and just being there for. And as I started sharing my experience with people, they were like, "Oh my God, that was you?" And I said, "I guess it was." And I had this feeling of I was like everybody's captain, and we were all by the fire, and I was like leading a ceremony, and it felt like I was on, I'm calling it my magical school boat, where this music just takes me on this journey. And sometimes the boat would pull up on this beautiful beach, and I just hop out in the sand and I'm dancing. And there's some times where we go through a dark jungle and I'm just, everything's okay. I'm calming the waters, like, breathe. And I'm snapping. And I'm just giving everybody that just calmness. And I start preaching. I'm like, let it go. Let her in. Let it go. And I just started saying it out loud. And people kept coming up to me, like I just kept hearing this voice saying, let it go. Let it go. And as soon as it did, they were like, my experience changed. And they were like, you were beautiful. And I had this moment in the night where there's like levels of staff that work there. They have the volunteers that come and they're just there to help everybody and get something for you if you need something. And then they have the staff, which is just all the main worker people. Then there's like the head level shamans, if you will. And out of nowhere, she just came up to me. The same lady that blessed the medicine and did the ceremony, and she came up to me. She put her hand on my shoulder, and I looked over at her, and she goes, "You are doing amazing." She was like, "Is there anything that we can get you?" And it made me feel so valued that I was doing something that even they recognized. And that's gotta be what I'm here for. That music, that soul feel. I just felt like I was almost leading a therapy session, like for everyone. And it wasn't for me. I was there for everyone else. But in return, hearing the people's stories from last night about how they felt me, they saw me just dancing, couldn't stop moving, and I would just get overtaken by music. There was an Italian song that came on, and I was just like, oh, beautiful, beautiful. And I was just setting this tone of everything is gonna be okay, but guys, sometimes the music would change and people had to get up and leave. And I was like, that's okay, man, this is your stop. This is where you hop off. You'll be back. Someone else will come in. Someone else wants to hop on here. Someone else would come and sit down next to me, and I would just give them my focus, welcome them to the fire, welcome them to my energy, and I would breathe with them. I would just give them whatever sort of vibration they needed. Some people just needed that calm steadiness. They were focused. Some people were really going for it, and I was like, hey, we're good, everything's okay, just breathe, and I'd see it fading off. I'm like, hey, over here, hey, breathe, it would calm down. I felt like I was there just guiding everyone. And my snaps. I was snapping, and they got to the point of, it got intense, and I was like, hey, everybody, hey, listen, follow it, stay with it, you're good, hey, just getting people's attention. And I was just grounding everybody, and it was all on a boat. It was all this journey through the water, and Jason is a guy that I bonded with all 3 days. We always kept going back and checking in with each other. And he's like, I just felt this safety, like calm water around outside. And that's what I was doing. I was swishing and feeling the vibrations of the energy of everyone around me, the music, and I was calming it. I was literally doing this with my hands, just calming these waters and keeping the boat from rocking. And in the moment, it just comes to you, like things I was saying out loud, and you're not supposed to try to interrupt people, but I never touched anybody, I never got in anybody's space, but things that I feel like people needed to hear in that moment were just coming out. And to hear that from people this morning of like, I just kept hearing this voice. It was just like, let her go, let her in, let her go, let her in. And they were like, it made me realize in order to get what I need out of this, I have to surrender to it. And it's tough. It is very tough. But in order to get what you need, you have to let it go. You have to be vulnerable. You have to accept what happened to you, and you have to work on it. You have to get past it and see that life is so beautiful. This place changes me every time I come here. I was talking to a girl named Angela. She was there around me a lot this weekend, and she told me yesterday that she found her spirit animal. And I was like, oh man, that's dope. What is it? She's like, I'm an elephant. And I was like, yeah, you are. I was like, you're a fun little silly elephant. Like, me, Angela, and Ernie were just chilling on the porch after daytime yesterday, just cracking jokes, having a goofball time. And I'm still dancing because I'm still feeling the music going on everywhere. They're all just cracking jokes. I'm laughing. Ernie gets in trouble for being too loud. Had to go to timeout. Should have listened, man. Told you it was your final warning. And then, while Ernie was in timeout, I was talking to Angela, and I was like, you know what? You are an elephant. I was like, you're this young, silly, playful little elephant. But then at the same time, when goofball Ernie leaves the picture, she was this, like, she had this, like, elegance about her. Like an elephant. Like, anytime you see an elephant, it's beautiful. And it's, like, mesmerizing. And she just sat there in this, like, state of just elegance. And we got up and we went to eat lunch. I gave her a hug and I was like, you're totally an elephant. She just started laughing. She's like, what do you mean? And I explained it to her. And it made her feel like she's an elephant. And during my daytime ceremony, I had this I touched into my soul. That was my intent. And I almost came into like a deep tribal side of myself, almost if I felt like almost like a witch doctor vibe of like, you see the crazy Amazon videos and stuff of like all the peoples, the shamans sitting around the fire and doing the ceremonies and doing the blessings, and I was like, that is what I'm doing. Like, this is where I just come alive. I sit by that fire and I go into my space. And the noises and the chants that were just coming out of nowhere from me. I had this deep, like, native tie to birds. And I was almost like my hands were like wings and feathers, and I was just like fanning all this energy with me into me and out to people, and like blowing this like here's your bird, man, like accept it, greet it. And there were points in the songs where I would start just vibrating with so much energy that I would just look up to the sky and almost just like release like a flock of birds for people that need me or need my positivity but weren't really in my vicinity, that I was keeping a watch over. And I was like, I don't know who needs this, but they will find you. And then I would get a huge wave of birds come back to me, and I just, like I could feel it all just hit me. And then I would give it out to people around me. All that energy. And just hearing the way people responded to that this morning, where they just kept telling me, they were like, you were beautiful last night. Like I wanted to be next to you so bad, but there was no space. Like, people just kept coming to me and coming to me, and it was people that I'd look over and I'm like, it's okay, it is okay, you're okay, I got you, I'm here for you, everything's okay. And they would have their realizations or their purge or whatever, and I'm there. I gave them all of my attention, and I kept pivoting around this fire, which way I was facing. And there were times where I'd feel the fire really hot on my back, and I would just turn around and just like to the fire, like, calm down. Like, the fire's getting a little too out of hand, calm down. And I would turn back around and I would go about my business. It would leave me alone. It wouldn't feel it anymore. And when the shaman came to me and said, you're doing amazing, is there anything we can get you? I just looked around and I was like, some water would be nice. And she literally just grabbed my water bottle that was right next to me this whole time and opened it and said, here you go. And I just gave her a huge hug and said, thank you. She's like, you're doing amazing. And it just, that gave me the biggest smile. And man, the rest of the night was a party. Like, if she can feel it enough to come to me, I must be doing it for somebody. And that's what it was. Whatever came to me, I felt someone needed to hear. Someone needed to feel, someone needed to see, and I sent it their way. And there were moments where people around me were just like, I would be in this zone and just touched by the music, and I would hear just like, wow, from someone else, and I would just turn around and they were just gazing at me, and I'm like, yes, man, yes, like, I hope you feel that, like, thank you, take it in. And that just, it kept me going. And I danced from 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. Full dancing. Didn't stop. Until I got to this point where I was like, I think my party's over. And I had a lot of times during it, it was like, hey man, you can't party forever. Like, this has eventually got to stop. And I looked at that, I was like, man, don't kill my vibe. Don't kill it. I'm having a good old time right now. Like, I know it's gonna end, but I'm gonna party until I don't want to party anymore. And as soon as I was done partying, as I keep calling it, I just leaned back and looked up at the stars. And for the first night that we were there, it was cloudy and rainy the whole time. And I look up at the stars, and it is a clear sky. And all the stars are just boom, right there. And when I started my ayahuasca journey, I thought I needed some sort of seventh dimension blast off to cure everything. Like, I needed to see something. And this weekend made me realize that I'm an earth person. Like, I give off earth vibes. I connect with the earth. And I know it's up there. I see it when I look. But right now, I'm here. And so I appreciate it. And that's the medicine. Maybe the medicine knows, like, hey man, you're not some intergalactic star child. Like, you're on Earth. You need to be down here. And that's, I really feel like my job is to come to this place and just show that beauty of this medicine. And I love it. I love it. I can't stop dancing. I can't stop these beats in my head. They just keep coming, a new one after a new one, and then I add different sounds into it, and I am grooving. Even this morning when I woke up, people were like, how are you still dancing? And I'm just like, man, I'm just feeling it. Like, even if there's not a song on, man, make your own. Boom, boom, boom. Oh man, just go. Loosen up. Have fun. I am a freaking hippie. An earth hippie. Barefoot, loving hippie. Man. Captain Corey, man. Magical School Boat. Love it.